drop in there for a second. All right, folks, welcome back to another week. We are live. Welcome to the Regulators here on the SEO Trading Dojo. Terry Van Horn, SEO Pros, SEO Dojo, and elsewhere. What is up, brother?
Not much. Still doing it.
Yeah. I know the feeling. Steve Garrett, sir. Steam Driven Media.
Hello,
What's up? Good. What's happening, man? You're off tomorrow, as of tomorrow? Running away from the clients? Good work.
Much needed time off.
He'll be in the Chicago area, and anyone who likes to see Steve while he's there, forget about it. It's not going to happen. He's hiding. So, Terry, man, what's up? Okay, so the SEO Dojo has a private Facebook group, among other things, and we had a bit of a thread, I guess, going on here this week. Massive, as I look at it. But it started with the authorship thing, and then it kind of degraded, I think, with Barry Adams, of course, it kind of degraded into Google was targeting SEOs. Then Bill Slawski came along and said, well, no, here's the exact article, and it was, we want to break the spirits of spammers, not SEOs. And, of course, you know, Barry has a really... Yeah, well, that was Barry's viewpoint with his usual tinfoil, was that obviously it is, you know, it's not the it's SEOs, not spammers. I don't know. So many things got to be on that conversation. I think one was that some people still seem to equate SEO with link building because, you know.
Well, because they're in a time warp.
I guess. I don't know. It also
2010.
Could be a UK-centric thing, too, because Justin was going on about it this morning, too. So.
Well, we all know that every client we had from the UK.
Links! More links!
More links! They were coming to technical SEOs for link building.
When they had over a million links.
Like a million links. Yeah. If you've got a million links, I don't think link building is the problem. Unless you think that all rankings are derived from anchor text.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, you look at their site and they could have been #1 where they should be, and quite often were. It was also expectations of being able to rank for shit that they were stupid to think that they could. And they thought they could do it because of the links. That's like not in touch with reality.
Well, yeah, I don't know. 2 years ago we started noticing things were ranking with far less links, more authority of the domain, and things of that nature.
Since we started the dojo, Dave, haven't we been trying to wean anybody that's listening to us off links, and when they do link building, do it with reliable people and do it with people that know what the fuck they're doing. Those who didn't take that advice came back later wanting to know how they fix. Well, sorry, I have no pity at all for you. Like, sorry, just not going to feel nothing.
So, yeah, so then I think the conversation degraded from there back into Steve in my direction, which was, you know, I don't think they're really affecting spammers that much, not any good ones that I know of.
No.
You know, again, in some ways, I think they made it a little easier because you had that panda running every 6 months. You almost had a timeline of where you could spam and when you could, you know, reboot. So, you know, and are they really affecting SEOs? I don't think so either, because a lot of SEOs don't give a flying fuck if they screw their clients. You know, they'll just get another client. So, you know,
the whole break the spirit of shows a complete and total misunderstanding of the spirit of the people they were trying to break. It's just like, you know, the war on drugs. You know, oh yeah, drugs are evil, drugs are bad, but apparently it doesn't seem to affect the drug dealers a whole lot.
No, yeah.
They simply don't care.
Just so thinking that you're going to break their spirit. Actually, you know, bought my first lid for $10, and now what is it? Hundreds. It's fucking insane.
So, you know, it just comes down to a total misunderstanding of who they're actually trying to fight. And the only people they seem to affect are the small businesses.
Well, right.
Because they don't have the money to keep up.
Right, or even, you know what I mean, again, someone, if they're, you know, they penalize some larger corporation that might lose a bunch of money, who's getting it? The guy, you know, at the bottom of the, you know, warehouse fucking hiring list, not the guy at the top. So really, if you think about it, who's getting hurt? It's little people one way or the other.
And the larger companies really aren't affected too much anyway, because everybody watches them. They go, oh, look, they got spanked. And 7 days later, they're back up where they were with a, oh, I'm sorry, one of our previous consultants did that.
Yep. I've done it myself.
I've gotten emails from in-house people at some major corporations doing shady link building. And, you know, it's like, so then, you know, I've gone up the food chain and just got a curiosity to see how far up the ladder people knew about this stuff. And it goes relatively high, and they don't care. So, you know,
but
what do you do?
Okay, Steve, but you got to think, when Dave and I were saying links are, you know, not going to do it forever, we were actually thought of being close to mentally retarded, I think, in some people.
Yeah, but I think that was
they were people in our group that were actually going around and saying we didn't know what we were talking about.
Yep.
Funny thing is, we're still the ones talking, and they're all fucking back licking their wounds.
Yeah, well, because at the time, you know, what could you do? You know, everyone came back to us with, you know, well, it's working. Look at this guy. Look at that guy. Look at this guy. So of course we look like we're crazy, but
since when has SEO been static? I mean, that's the game. It's fluid. To think what I do today is going to work tomorrow has always been foolish thinking, in my opinion. It's not a long-term solution. That's what I'm looking for, something that's going to last. So I know I build good content, put it on a well-maintained, well-constructed site, I'm going to rank.
Yeah, but you know, Steve's always got the point that I also, you know, do believe in to a degree that you know, at the time, you know, and again, I've done directories, I've done guest posting for clients, you know, I've done stuff that is, you know, evil or illegal now. I love that word. But what are you going to do? Clients want, you know, you want to work as an SEO 5 years ago, you better be doing that stuff because
I wouldn't call what we were doing guest posting. So, that job would have been a lot fucking easier than it was, Dave.
Yeah,
you know,
for sure.
Where some people had 100 candidates, we had 3 because of the quality that we were looking for. That's the difference.
Yeah, I still use that approach today.
That's real guest blogging. The other stuff is just bullshit. Look, that's not guest blogging. That's spamming. Period. I've said pissed everyone off now.
Oh no, I'm just posting the show up for those fine folks on Google Plus. So, you know, and again, so you know, dovetailing onto that is my ongoing obsession with this negative SEO thing I'm working on a case study with. And yeah, Terry, at the end of the day, not Dixon, not the other people at Majestic, not Dom over at Link Risk, nobody could truly find me a way to call out just the links from a certain date, because that's not how Majestic works or any of these tools work. Their latest links and their fresh links and their even the filtering in Majestic from a certain date doesn't matter. It's if they've crawled it since then, you know what I mean, they list that as bloody fucking new.
I bet you there's someone at Majestic trying to figure it out right now.
Better be, yeah. So what happens?
That's going to be a business going forward, Dave. Like, you know.
Well, see, but Dom's tool will do it to a degree, meaning if it will tell you each week which new ones are added, so it'll know compare the lists and shit like that. But we'll find out how well that works. But in this initial run at it, you know, Dixon came back with like 1.1 million links, I think, or 1.2. Dom's approach came back with around 1 million. So either way, that wasn't it, because since April it's been about 120,000 or something like that when this whole negative SEO thing started. So either way, it doesn't really work out. Obviously, Google doesn't give me fucking nearly enough to do this. So I'm still kind of screwed doing things semi-manually, which is going to cost this poor fucker a bunch of money. The ongoing thing to do it with Dom's link risk program, the level of service he'd need with a link profile that big is around $500 a month, plus whatever time I'm going to put in. Dom told me about a team that's doing proactive disavows over there, and they've got like 5 guys on it that are doing this each week, reviewing them and da-da-da. So, I was talking to Steve before the show, including my fees and stuff like that, the first year is going to cost this fucking guy upwards of $14,000 to $16,000. So, I still, again, I either don't penalize for the links or give us the tools to fucking rectify the problem. This is my problem with it.
Back data when it's causing that. They're going to get their ass sued when that happens. I think so.
Well, it's fucking happening, and I'm taking notes with Dom and everyone along the way to fucking put a case study together to show that this has real world fucking problems to it, Because even if you don't fuck the guy over, Steve, you're still costing him a bunch of money. It's as good as fucking him over, isn't it? Like you just got into his bottom line by $60,000 a year. Who cares if he got penalized or not, even if Google found it or not? The fact that the potential risk is there and that people have to be proactive about it is costing him a shitload of money. But then you have the secondary problem where the tools out there, including Google's tools, aren't sufficient to actually go about doing this.
But that's a deficiency in the whole system from day one, because nobody was forced or nobody had programs where they were supplying that data. Even though people like you and I said they should be insisting on it.
And it's not even about supplying the data, though, Terry. I mean, what if somebody does it against you without your knowledge? You're not going to get the data anyway. I mean, seriously, you think somebody who's going to go run to Fiverr and throw 50,000 links at your website is going to turn around and then give you that list? It's unlikely.
So it's a clusterfuck, man. It's just pissing me off to no end right now.
Well, I think if you're smart, you're looking ahead. Like, the future is that you're going to have to monitor this stuff. There's I don't see any way that a company that plans on staying in business cannot do this. I just don't.
Which completely eliminates an entire business segment that simply doesn't have the overhead, the profitability to be able to throw this kind of money at making sure they don't get fucked. It's just it's not right.
The process will get automated. Someone will make a lot of money off it.
Yeah. Again, Google. I should be able to go to Google, say, show me the links you found since this date. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
And just like these link risk tools and other tools, right in my Webmaster Tools, I should have the ability. I should have the ability to just actually go through them right there in Webmaster Tools. Go disavow.
One of the things that I have been doing recently on my cleanups is I don't bother much with anyone other than what's coming from Google, because I think if Google doesn't know about it or it's not telling you about it, then it probably don't matter. It's getting all the domains from Google, and then you'd have to have your own spider to kind of gather and build your own index and then watch it. That's my personal.
Or I know, Google's really big on this whole transparency thing. Why not just discount the links instead of penalizing and tell the world, hey, these links, this is example. If they could show me fucking links in my reconsideration request reply, links they don't like, which I could freely share with the public, why can't they just do that publicly and start telling people, hey.
They've already said, well, we're not really going to count links from guest posting.
Yeah, and that's cool, and I don't mind that. But the problem is the penalty side is where the negative SEO option starts to come in, is because of the penalty element of it, as opposed to just ignoring it and telling people, hey, we don't value this.
Right.
This is the big problem for me. So, And again,
Well,
and then you add on top of that, they don't give you the tools or the actual links or what you need to go and be proactive against such a thing.
well,
You're
I
doubly
think they
screwed.
do to some extent in that if they're giving you what they find every month, right? And you start collecting that, and then you collect other data monthly. Eventually, you get a fairly good idea.
Yeah, but then that again, that's if you're 1,000 referring domains or less. You know, once you break past that 1,000 referring domains, because they only give you a sampling of 1,000 referrers, right? This guy's got 26,000 bloody referring domains, so I'm getting 1,000 of those. That's a big fucking space.
I'll bet you that there are lots of links that even that neither Majestic or Hrefs have found either.
Yeah,
I bet you there's all kinds.
And vice versa, you know what I mean? Across the lists never seem to add up.
Yeah. And the other thing, I don't think Google really tells you if they know about a link and they're not counting it. I don't think they bother putting it in the list.
Yeah, I have no idea.
See, that would be a big, help if they would even give us information like that. And that's not giving away the farm, right?
No, of course.
That's, giving us something to work with.
But again, if you're going to penalize someone, then give them the tools to fix it or the data to fix it, whatever. That's my problem at this. Is Google's not. I shouldn't be going to third-party services and shit like that. Google should say, "Hey, here's your shit. Clean it up."
Yeah. They probably went to third-party places to put it there.
I got a new client now with 1 million links or 900,000 and change. Same problem's going to exist there. Because he's got it looks like probably a bit of a penguin issue. So how am I finding all that? How do I know? So it's going to be the same fucking problem.
Well, you're going to have, in that case, you're going to have to rely on Majestic and Hrefs and Google. But I'd pay a lot more attention to what's in the Google index. And I would also want to kind of know what Google isn't showing me that Majestic is. Work on. There's always little hints.
Yeah. Again, as long as you're under 1,000 referring domains, you're groovy. You got problems. Well, certainly. Anyways, so yes, it just keeps going on, Steve.
Well, I think link
have
building.
We gotten through a week without this?
Link building is going to go from link building to link management.
Yeah, somebody shared with me. Hold on.
Which again, Dave, link management. That's what we've been advocating for a long time. Is know where they are and track them.
All right, someone also shared with me that there's one of their clients has become a victim of a money extortion plot, where they suddenly noticed. Did you? It was from our friend, but I'm not going to say it in the air because I don't know if they want us to tell them. But anyway, so basically, as the story goes, they noticed a bunch of links appearing to their site from a bunch of shitty directories run by the same person. They contacted the owner to ask for removal of the links and been told it would cost them $7 to remove each link, which is, if you order directories, that up quite a lump sum. They did pay, only to discover links from those directories started appearing again, with the owner demanding them to pay again.
So now it's a monthly fee.
Yeah, I wouldn't have paid. It would have disavowed this shit, man.
I would have just contacted Google and told them, "Hey, this guy's extorting money from me."
Well, that's why this person contacted me, is they were asking anyone who has contacts at Google to that they would pass the details along. So
yeah.
But again,
Google.
Yeah, I need a new one now. Apparently, I'm powerless. But yeah, I'm just disavowing that. I don't know what you guys. I wouldn't be paying. What a fucking shit.
Well, yeah, you can disavow it, but you still have that lingering issue of, is this really going to hurt me or not?
Yeah. Well, again.
No, you actually put an explanation there on his link explaining why it's disavowed, that he's extorting money monthly to remove these links, right? And hopefully Google takes some action.
And then you have to catch the next batch and the next batch and the next batch, and you're constantly in this cycle.
Just de-index a website. Just de-index a website.
And if the guy owns 1,000 directories and he keeps submitting you to he keeps putting you in 100 new directories every month.
Yeah, that again opens up that hole. It opens up this problem. Yeah.
Yeah, but that's going to become the new business model. These people aren't very intelligent, Dave.
It could
SEOs are getting way too much credit. Most of them are.
Shut this whole thing off in an instant if they wanted to. They don't want to.
Just stop counting links, period.
Well, whatever. Just stop penalizing for crap.
Penalizing.
Yeah, if you don't like a link, ignore it. If you do, count it, whatever. But just don't. The whole penalty thing is where the only place the negative SEO comes in. Without the penalty, you got nothing. So it's they've made their point the last 2.5 years. I don't know. It's just people are starting to more and more start to lean this other direction. So.
It ain't right, man.
All right. Well, we almost ate half an hour for that, so we better get moving. Terry, let's see what we got here. All right, Terry, I'm grabbing a glass of iced tea here. What do we got from Bill? I remember him going off about this last week. Apparently, he wrote a post about it. So.
Yeah, I think he's just basically saying, the stuff about authorship and SERPs is, more hysteria. Bill's level-headed. That whole hysteria is fed by guys like Barry, who, this conspiracy against SEOs. I think you'd be further ahead to say conspiracy against crappy sites.
All right. Well, yeah, authorship didn't go away. Just the little pictures, right?
The pictures was what made it worth having.
Well, yeah, it obviously raises up the click-through rate.
Yeah, but why didn't Bill brings up the point that they did studies and people on mobile do not like those pictures in the search, or they are not doing anything. Okay, so mobile is a lot more percentage of search than people think. Go and look at your devices, and you're going to be shaking your head.
I think it changes website to website. I look at my analytics. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Some sites are still predominantly desktop. Other sites, bigger mix.
Well, for sure, something like SEO would be predominantly right. But if most of your traffic is coming from social, you better be fucking tuned for devices, or
Yeah.
And that's just Google making themselves more mobile friendly, so they don't have to run 2 separate sets of results. It's consistent.
Interesting. But they also took these circle counts out too, as well, right? That's kind of weird.
Yeah, why? Well, because they're mostly bullshit anyhow.
Yeah. Come on, there's probably a ranking factor, man. It's a ranking factor. That's why they hid them.
It's a ranking factor.
Would that be number 2?
It probably is to some way, but not in the way that SEOs think. I think it's a factor, but it's not a factor, it's a signal, and it probably has more to do with who's liking and sharing you than links or any of the other nonsense that gets talked about. It's about entity association.
Well, yeah, that's connecting the dots. You know what I mean? That's why it's still there. It still exists. It's just in the background. It just doesn't have the little picture.
Right.
Thing.
It isn't a factor. It's more of a signal, and it's a signal that kind of verifies other factors.
For sure.
That's what's very confusing now about ranking sites is, what are the signals that they're actually looking for? I think in a lot of ways it's not what SEOs think.
Mm-hmm.
Well, in our educational segment of the show, Terry, we had some more stuff on the no display tag.
Yeah.
Oh, Steve Plunkett's in the house. Hello, Steve. We love you. Steve Plunkett in the house. How you doing? We're back on Friday, Steve, by the way. Anyway, sorry, man. Yeah. So this is more about the no display tag.
Yeah, more and more people got to understand Google now cares more about what the user sees, not what you may have in divs and other stuff that's not displaying on entry. I think you really got to think about that. So when you're throwing up light boxes, obscuring your web page, you're now not only annoying users, you're annoying Google. Because they're just not indexing like they should, those pages. I think you really need to look at that. And I think that's why Googlebot now actually renders pages, correct? When you check and shows you what they're actually indexing, correct, Dave?
I believe that is the advice at this point. If you want to see how they're seeing it, is to use that.
Yeah.
That was the update a little while ago. They changed a couple things.
And I think if you're doing site redevelopment or developing a new site, these are things that you want to consider doing as part of your checklist before you go live. Otherwise, you don't make big mistakes and lose half your traffic, right, Dave?
Yeah. 30-something% to be honest. But so John Mueller is saying, I personally avoid this kind of interstitial. While we try to recognize these kind of things, it could happen that we index your page like that, missing your primary content. Maybe it's worth just showing it to repeat users, blah, blah, blah. So, yeah, and I guess the history on that one, folks, is another thing John Mueller talked about a while ago was tabs, and we see those in a lot of WordPress templates and stuff like that. And that's where you have the different tabs, and it only shows some content, not the other. And he was saying, by and large, if you've got a tab that is display none as its initial state, then Google more than likely won't index that. Yeah.
I think it's tied to trust. What do you think, Steve? As far as how much they'll index that's in a no display area.
I think that comes back to this what we're talking about with blocking robots.txt out of your CSS, and how that all contributes in some small way towards a some level of trust on Google's part. By allowing them access to your CSS, you're allowing them to see exactly how you're doing your page layouts and these hidden areas of your website that may or may not appear after a certain amount of time or a scroll or whatever, some form of user interaction that will, in the long run, help Google trust your site better to where, versus whether you block those areas and make Google try to figure it out. I'm not saying it's a huge factor, I'm not even saying it's a little factor, I'm saying that it may contribute on some level to something else that may be a factor.
Yeah,
but
I think you just want to check that stuff, right, Steve? It should be part of your checklist that when you do development and it's using display none, you should check those areas to make sure that Google's indexing them if you think they're important. It may be that now that's how you want to hide disclaimers, is in areas like that, because it used to be if you put them in a iframe, it wasn't associated to the page. Mm-hmm. Now they're actually associating it to the page, so you might be further ahead to put it in no display or display none as the initial state.
Yeah, but there are other issues with things like disclaimers when it comes to FTC regulations and adding. and ads.
That's
So,
true.
that might not be the best example, but I understand what you're saying.
Well, I'm always looking for those, they take something away, I want to get it back if I can some way.
Right.
And sometimes those disclaimers are like pretty big and they're on every page on, on some websites.
Because they have to be. I work with some clients where every single page has a disclaimer, and it will have multiple disclaimers throughout the page at every single point because it's required. You don't have a choice. And
yeah, that's a lot.
when you see sites that don't have all those disclaimers, you know one of two things. One, either they haven't been busted yet, or two, they don't care. I mean, it's really what it comes down to. I know even if something as simple as becoming Google AdWords compliant can take a significant amount of effort if you're in an industry that has these types of requirements.
Every change
diet,
you do,
diet supplements. Yeah. Diet supplements.
I worked on some pharma on AdWords, Steve. Everything had to be checked by Google. They didn't automatically display anything. It was all reviewed before it was displayed.
What's funny is when we're seeing user comments on some of these sites saying, why do you have these disclaimers everywhere? It looks stupid. It's ridiculous. Why is this picture like this? Well, because that's what's required by law. If we could show you the other thing or do it a different way, we certainly would, because we would make a whole lot more money. One of the ad display networks has a rule about showing specific body parts. You can't zoom in on just a flexed bicep or something. But when we ran the ads to begin with, we went ahead and ran that picture and it got through, and the ROI was over 400% on that one ad. So, and then they killed it because you can't do that. It's like, well, obviously that's what makes people buy. Why can't I do that? The ad you will let me show, all they do is make comments about how the guy looks weak. It's like, well, yeah, of course he looks weak. The customers want this, so we have to. It's totally frustrating, but humorous at the same time. So anyway.
Yeah, like the one guy I even had was looking at a cart, and he literally had the description, meaning the text for the page, into these tabs, and sure enough, they weren't being indexed. He had the technical specs in the initial display, but the state for the actual text was obviously displayed up. So it's awesome. All right, where do we go? Time is flying today. Oh, Terry's going on. Terry's got guest blogging here. All right, let's go with guest blogging.
Here's the thing. If you're doing guest blogging like this, you don't have a thing to worry about. And that's what I don't get. The other kind of guest blogging, in my opinion, is just a waste of fucking disk space.
Could be.
But that's just my opinion.
All right, so what did they do?
They did really good content, placed it on really good sites, and got 1 million visitors.
Yeah, well, the really good content's easy, but getting it placed on really good websites isn't.
Agreed.
In some cases, I won't even say a lot of cases, but in some cases, those really good websites, you're going to have to pay somebody to get on them. Plain and simple.
Yep.
There is no, hey, I've got this really great content your viewers are going to love.
You should, though. You should have to pay to get onto a website like that. That's the way business works.
Except that's a violation of Google's rules.
Well, not if you have no followed links in it.
Well, yeah.
Which is, again, the point of this was about attracting,
Yeah,
traffic.
like I said, I've never looked at a link and said, oh, I don't want to do this because it's no follow. In fact, that's never been a criteria of mine when I'm choosing where I want to get a link to or where I want to get a link from. It's all about quality of sites and what they're going to send me. I don't care.
Google has spent so much time beating into your heads that paying for placement is bad.
I'm in the same fucking industry, and they didn't have to tell me that.
Well, unless it's paying for placement, those little ads on the search results.
Well, yeah. It's just there are so many conflicting messages coming out of Google that, you know, if you're one of those unfortunate people who reads about SEO every 6 months or once a year, you're screwed, because the rules and the landscape changes so dramatically, so quickly these days.
How's that different from print, radio, broadcast, any other advertising medium? How is that different?
It's completely different, because when you go to get on radio, the radio ad guy comes to you with his book and says, here are our demographics, here are our numbers, here's what it's going to cost to get you in front of this many people. It's very open, very transparent, and here it is. That's not the way SEO is. SEO is a completely different issue. And while what we do is better tracked, it's more easy to determine your ROI. There's a certain amount of black box to it, where you put a whole bunch of shit into it and hope that when it shakes, the stuff that comes out the other end actually helped.
Fucking broadcast is a black box and nothing else. Those numbers, anybody who's buying advertising does not believe them. Does not buy advertising based on the numbers from the ad. I don't think so.
I guess
if you're actually looking at things, right, when they give you numbers, they're actually guesstimating how many times the New York Times or a magazine gets read in a doctor's office. They count all those people's as.
How did you go from radio to magazines?
Guesstimated.
How did you go from radios to magazines? No, when we were talking radio, I could easily say, okay, what's the demographic for this radio station? It's country music. It's going to be this, 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 and this. And I can go to this radio station. It's progressive, or it's, you know, alternative.
Yeah, but don't we sell our services the same way? Find out what demographic they need and put them into it. It's like not any different, Steve. I don't really see. That's what I don't understand, how there's a difference between how print media is done and how we do things. I don't understand it. Being in both, and don't understand why there's a difference and why the expectations are different. That people should be able to do it for nickels. You know, I just don't get that. Think that's that's pre-2000. That's like, you know, ancient thinking.
Everything on the internet is free.
Still is? I thought so.
If you're in India, it is.
Traffic streaming. Let's see. Going back to, I guess we'll step backwards to Bill's post again. Bill Slasky is hanging out with us here apparently. He asked if Google is removing authorship photos because they were stealing clicks from ads.
Oh, fuck. How would people even fucking consider that? That's like shows someone.
Hey, for all I know, Bill's just trolling you, man.
Oh, okay. Oh, I know that.
It's Bill who asked the question, so.
Oh, well, I'm just saying, I you know.
But yeah,
I'm more likely to click a link with a person I know next to it than I am an ad.
Yes, yeah. You are an ad. But yeah, I don't know. I wouldn't fully subscribe to that one.
Google removed authorship pictures because people were clicking on those instead of ads. Where's the connect? I don't get it. That's what I don't get, Dave. Where's the connect between those pictures and ads? It's the same old thing. Oh, it's all about, oh, Google wants to fuck their SERPs and kick everybody out of the SERPs so they sell more ads. Ah, fuck. That's just stupid.
Steve, your theory?
I have no theory.
Okay. Steve Plunkett says you have a damn fine beard. So let's get that out of the way.
Steve works at it, though.
I like my beard.
And Steve also said he, oh, sorry, it was Bill. Bill Slosky says he asked for $50 million from the last person who wanted to have a blog post published on his site. Should he have asked for more?
I don't know. Was it pesos or lira or
yeah, it's true. Well, he's got a dollar sign on it, so we'll have to go with that.
Okay.
I think that's about right. Sure, we'll go with that. All right, we're to this fine, wonderful day. Google Map. Oh, okay. Terry's got some shit going on. So, yay! We'll just use all Terry's notes today. Google Maps hacking. I even found something about this too. Oh, this is the same place. Okay, so I found this story somewhere else, actually.
Yeah, it's been in a few places. Same old thing. Google can't seem to really manage this stuff. I've noticed it with other directories.
Yeah, but did you catch the part where this dickhead's trying to sue Google about it? Steve, so this guy's got a restaurant, right? And also, it's off the beaten path, blah, blah, blah. Basically, there's no walk-in traffic, so it's people that know about the site, this and that. He started losing business, hand over fist, and who knows what really killed him. But according to him, eventually one of his clients, patrons, called him and said, why aren't you open Friday, Saturday, and Sunday? And he was like, well, we are. Where did you get this information? And apparently it was from his Google, local listing. And apparently this guy doesn't use the internet, like, at all as a human being, let alone as a business person or anything else.
Which is not uncommon.
Yeah, so he had to eventually, hire a internet consultant and whatever to go fix it. It was easily fixed and blah, blah, blah. So basically, because this guy wasn't monitoring a listing in Google and traffic died off because of an improper listing, he wants to sue Google now. He's now closed the restaurant.
Here's something that I don't like, Dave. That Google and other directories put you in and expect you to have to manage that listing. Lots of times, anybody can go in and claim that listing. And
it's opt out, not opt in.
Right.
That's counter to what you said last time about opt out versus opt in, but that's okay. This is a huge problem with Google. Everything they do is opt out. You don't like it, opt out. Well, if you're not on the internet to begin with, how the hell do you opt out? And they're not held to any sort of judgment or responsibility for what they did. And that's
this is just some poor old Eastern European guy that doesn't use the internet. So how is he supposed to know about that? But,
Well, I think if it's going to court, I will not be surprised if Google loses.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I doubt they'd lose. I doubt they'd lose because they don't want the precedent, so they try and they negotiate their way out of it anyways. They thought.
Oh yeah, I'm sure that they won't lose. They'll pay their way out of it for sure because they don't want people to know that. But that is a problem. I've seen it with other directories. For instance, the NAP for one of my clients is screwed because they have other people using their address and using their business name. Because that's kind of what's on the, well, it's a funny situation, but it was a problem for them.
Well, one of our friends, he's dealing with some issues right now that are maybe not really Google's fault, but a business with a similar name screwed thousands of people. I mean, just flat screwed them. And they go to Google, they type in the first part of that guy's business name, and his website comes up. So all these people come to his website, leaving him horrible emails, calling him at all hours, filing better business complaints because they found him first. And he's not the one, that caused the problem. He doesn't even sell the same type of product.
Wow.
And you know, he's, you know, they email him, go, well, you know, where's my stuff? And he's like, I don't even sell that. Why are you calling me? And it took him forever to figure out what was going on. And it turned out it's just one of these, you know, Chinese drop shipper guys who's, you know, paying $2 for something, claiming it's worth $150 and selling it for $19. And so he's dealing with this because they have similar names. The other guy's website doesn't show up at all in Google, which is probably what the guy wants to begin with. And our friend is dealing with the repercussions of being indirectly associated with this business. So it's just entertaining. It sucks, but it's entertaining. Did we lose Mr. Dave?
Yeah, I think he's looking for another topic here.
No, I was muted, so I'm just talking to myself, apparently. Anyways, in other legal news, this guy's movie didn't show up when you put the title of it in, so he wanted to sue Google. Apparently the name of the movie is America, and a whole bunch of Captain America stuff came up. And
Actually, I was watching a news clip on that this morning. Not only is he having issues with Google not showing up, but there are a lot of stores that dropped his book that goes along with the movie. There's just a whole lot of drama around this particular movie and book combination.
He's a bit of a whiner. But yeah, the show times for Transformer come up, but the show times for my movie aren't. And I think there's even undertones of it being some sort of political,
Well, the movie and the book are very political.
Yeah.
So, it makes it a lot easier to claim
bias
and conspiracy when those kinds of things happen.
Yeah. But a Google person did actually talk to him, said they're rectifying it and fixing it and this and that. So they
only got 3 stars out of 5. It can't be very good. Are they complaining about that, Steve? We only got 3 stars. What do you mean?
I'm suing.
Yeah, I'm suing. 3 stars. What do you mean? The critics don't know nothing.
See, I thought that was curious. Now we're suing people to get our results changed.
Is that Mountain Dew in a fucking bottle?
Old school, man.
I'll say. Only in Arkansas, man. I haven't seen a bottle of pop in probably 10 years.
No, yeah.
Hey, Dave, it's all cans of that plastic shit around here.
Yeah.
Hey, nothing like a glass bottle of real sugar.
Oh, for sure, man. The pop tastes different when it comes out of the glass bottle. It's colder.
No, you youngsters don't know what you're missing.
Right, for sure. The little bottles of Coke were the best, man.
No. I forgot where I was going to go with that, but anyway.
Like I said, just sue people.
Okay.
The Google has now told the Hollywood Reporter that it has implemented a fix for the problem caused by the confusion. Google says, with America being a common term. But it will take some time before the fix rolls out in order to make showtime disappear.
Yeah, then you've got the other side of the coin where you have the European Union and the right to be forgotten.
Yeah.
That's opened up a whole new...
The Guardian's been going mental with it. Like, I think the Guardian covered it like 4 times in the last week.
Well, that's because Google targeted them specifically with their...
Yeah, well, a bunch of their pages disappeared that used to rank. So, yeah, that's
what they're... Smart on Google's part. If you're going to go ahead and go around and start blocking all this content, you want to hit the newspaper sites first. Because they're the ones that are going to freak out the most about their results not showing.
And they know the guys that make the decisions, usually.
Yeah.
Rupert probably calls up the Prime Minister and says, yeah, about that.
Yeah, I would see a lot of chatter coming out of there for the last week or so from them. Got anything else educational?
Education.
Yeah.
Not on this show, damn it.
Oh, hold on. Eric Wu was sharing something earlier this week. I'm not sure what you can really do with it, but I tried on a few sites. Oh, come on, screen share, piece of shit. There we go. Okay. I don't know how thrilling it is, guys and girls and whoever the fuck's watching, but they're listening. If you go to Google and you search something, let's say we search NewYorkTimes.com, site : NewYorkTimes.com, because you want to just get results from that site. The usual drop down has past hour, past 24 hours, past week, past month, past year, custom range, right? Okay. So, something like, yeah, see, search engine land, it was kind of useless, but anyways, so if you change this here, this little letter, it does different things. So if you change it to an H, you change it to an S, you should get the past second. Change it to an E, you get this weekend, which is kind of weird. Here, I'll show you that. Didn't know this one existed, Terry. Oh, come on. Whatever. So yeah, it says this weekend here. Okay. You use an O, you get today. So here's what it's called in search engine land today. And of course the best one, Steve. Yeah, I like this one. No, what was it? R? Yeah, R. Yeah. This one's awesome.
Uh-oh.
Look, tomorrow. Google can tell the future, man. Show you what it crawled tomorrow, man. In the show note, folks. I'm not sure how you would, I guess if you're trying to figure out with a larger site, New York Times or something, like what's been crawled the last second, I guess. It could hold some forensic value, but on smaller sites that don't seem to be like this is search engine land, and even some of the stuff like the last second or wasn't shown fuck all. So you'd need a pretty heavily crawled site for it to be useful, I think. But it was funny. It amused me for a few moments. What else? We're running out of stuff. Well, we could always do the Google 200 ranking factors. Just another one of these Google 200 ranking factor infographics was on the Dojo Facebook group. And as usual, the boys were having fun.
How about the guy who wrote everything you need to know about cleanup?
Oh, yeah, in the chat room, wasn't it? That was fucking
I dropped it in a few places. I thought I dropped it in the show notes.
Okay.
Just another example of, half those.
Yeah, so semi-educational for those who don't know any better, which apparently this poor bastard doesn't. Apparently Google has a new manual action for thin content. Okay. Yeah. Let's see, so July 9th, yep. No date on it. Anyway, so the folks listening, watching, there's been a manual thin content penalty for over a year, so. That's what I love. I hate to beat up this poor Ben character, but he's the head of SEO and social media for this agency, and he just found out about it today or this week or whatever. I was like, you're the head of your team, are you? Awesome, dude. This has been around a while, right?
Yeah, the thing on cleanup and removing penalties and finding them was kind of more of the same.
Yeah.
With
lots of
stuff like site speed, stuff like that.
Yeah. Bounce rates were in there, weren't they?
Oh yeah, even.
My buddies, the bounce rates. Yeah. Yeah. Definitive piece of work.
every article I read about Panda is just regurgitation with nothing new about, how it actually affects a website. Like people think, or I think the thought is out there that it just affects certain pages. No, it affects every page that they link to from that page that's affected. So if your home page is part of the problem, you're really fucked.
Yeah, and again, is it, they'll always tell you the manual action, site-wide, partial, etc., etc. So we've seen it.
We're not, but I'm talking Panda, because that's what this guy was talking a lot about too, was algorithmic penalties and stuff like that. Like, and a lot of the stuff, it was kind of like a lot of the half-truths. If you took all the half-truths that are out there, they're probably in this article. It's like you can tell it's people writing about things that I don't think they've got a lot of experience. I think they've read a lot about it.
I don't even know that guy. I don't even know if that guy read a lot about it or just researched a lot about it and wrote down everything he could find. It seemed.
Yeah.
Because he was lumping in just general web spam shit like cloaking.
And I don't want to center this guy out. I'm saying that's most of what I read. Now I've quit reading it because even the stuff that was kind of helpful at the beginning, like Kemper's stuff was kind of helpful at the beginning. It's become a lot less helpful lately, but in some ways I figured out a few things by reading.
Well, I'm not sure Mr. Semper is a fan of the show or not, but we'll just...
I really don't give a fuck.
There you go. He did reach out to me, and he said we'd been beating him up for his game. So.
I'm telling you, guys, I would tell him what for.
We'll send him a transcript of a few.
Did you tell him?
I haven't even really talked to him since then.
Why I think he's a leper and a fucking scar on the industry?
Yeah. No, I did not get into it with him, to be honest. I just sort of said, okay, how you doing? He was like, I'll give you a free account. Come look at our tools. We'll tell you
right. I've done his free trials. That's why I'm talking the way I am.
Yeah, so I haven't really gotten back to it. One of his staff contacted me the other day and said...
Yeah, that's his thing. His staff do everything for him. Anyhow.
Yeah, I don't know. The first name of Panda...
there's...
Bill's reminding us the original name wasn't Panda. Yes, it was Farmer, but I think that was Danny Sullivan's version.
Yeah. Even what people call thin content, I don't think they really understand that it means. It can be a whole lot of things contributing to that. It's not like something as simple as, well, there's only 200 words on the page or whatever.
Well, no, I'll even look at stuff like over-indexation, Terry, you know what I mean, canonical issues, parameter issues. A lot of that shit can create its own duplicate content and thin out a site in a hurry. So
I think Google is kind of sensitive to poorly maintained websites.
Which is a real shame because Google shouldn't be the arbiter of good content or maintenance.
It's a subjective thing, isn't it?
It's very subjective.
Oh, well, that is the world we've inherited.
Oh, no.
Let's see,
You've got 500 SAW 404s and you don't do anything about it. I don't know who's to blame there.
Nobody. I mean, it could just been a WordPress update that went wacky. And not everybody is going to be a WordPress master or a website developer. They're going to be somebody who writes poetry. They're going to be somebody who's an artist. They're going to be people running small businesses. There's no reason they should have to worry about whether Google thinks their content is good enough because they've got some 404s or because their URL structure isn't ideal for whatever.
In breaking news, my Skype just let me know it's Rand Fishkin's birthday tomorrow. Happy birthday, Rand. We'll miss your
Skype can see the future, too.
Yeah. All right, 12 o'clock. We made it. Good Lord, we managed to pull another hour off. Yeah, it's horrible out there as far as news goes. I swear, Terry. The summer's bad enough, but
I'm glad I'm kind of busy, Dave, because most of what I read, it's like once in a while you come across something from Bill or someone like that, right? That, it's an interesting read, but most of it I read it and think, well, slow day, you ain't got much else to do that, you basically fill up fucking disk space.
I think we just need to start some good rumors while Matt's gone.
Yeah. I've got to break out Photoshop. I'll break out Photoshop and show them, at Vegas or something, spending it with some hookers. Or, I have to break out some Photoshop skills here, man.
With loose women.
We'll force Matt to come back and talk. All right, what the hell? I think we got enough. We're done. We're finished. Okay. In your last bit of education for the day, ladies and gentlemen, we will give you apparently some dumbass fucking had a bunch of sites. They all got penalized, and he mistakenly 301 them to his new site because he started over, and the penalty followed its way home. So now he has to start over yet again.
I am shocked that the penalty followed.
Yeah, me too. I was aghast.
Well, I mean, if people do the 301s expecting all the good stuff to follow. It would only make logical sense that the bad would follow.
Yeah,
well.
Exactly. Why are you 301ing? Because I want the equity, the good equity, to come over here. Well, yeah, isn't the same theory going to hold true if you got shit?
Yeah, but now you don't even have to 301 it. Right? They'll just, if you have the content up in both places, they're going to.
If the penalty really is following him around, then you 301 it to your competitor.
There you go.
Start over.
That's right. Which, apparently, I think they mentioned in here is, we also know that Google tried to prevent this from a negative SEO standpoint. How well that's working, I don't know. That would have great hopes for it. Just not confusing. And there you go. You're educated. We're done, gentlemen.
How did you accidentally?
I know.
One site to another. Accidentally. Fuck. Now that's just. Oh wow. That's like going to your teacher and saying, "Yeah, the dog ate my homework."
Yeah.
Fuck me.
All right, folks, we're going to give it up for another day. Friday, 1 p.m. Eastern, SEO Dojo Friday chat will be going, as always. So if you're one of our regular visitors for that, be sure to drop in. And that's about it. Steve, Terry, till next week, gentlemen.
Have a good week, everybody.